Okay, what's good everyone? So with our latest update for Dokkan, we now have some new content with the Million Arena event. Now, if I had to explain to you guys what this event is like, basically, in my opinion, this is a revamped, glorified version of the punching bag event, where basically the goal is to do as much damage as possible in one single attack. And to do so, you need to bring a character with crazy amounts of damage potential, you need to build a team with a bunch of support to boost your damage, and on top of that, you need to fight for the perfect rotations and the perfect turn to do as much damage as possible. So the gameplay for this event is pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward in that sense, but at the same time, because of the way it works, there's a lot of gimmicks, a lot of finickiness to it, there's a lot of resetting that's required, so a lot of people in the player base for Dokkan do not like this event. But today, we're gonna go into this event, show you guys how it looks, how it works. I'll go ahead and give you guys some teams that you may want to use on this type of event based off the goal for like doing the most damage possible, so we'll go ahead and kind of look at that. But first thing is first, we need to clarify there are two styles to this event. So this is the tournament PvP version of the event. This is the single player version of the event. Now, I highly recommend all of you do this single player version first, because there's unlimited attempts of this. You want to go ahead, get a feel for how this fight works, get a feel for your teams, your rotations, get an understanding of all of that in this mode, and then go into the PvP side of things to go ahead and get your highest damage output possible. Now, both sides do feature missions, so of course, you want to go ahead, do the events to beat the missions and stuff. When you look at the missions really revolve around you doing more and more damage. So the more damage you do, the more missions you complete, and the highest mission is to beat it with the whole damage of 90 million in one single attack. So pretty high damage output. But yeah, you see the early missions, they are very desirable in terms of rewards, Dragon Stones, Elder Kais, stuff like that. The higher missions, not necessarily as desirable. They give you some nice stuff, training items, but that's it. So everyone should be able to do the early kind of missions and everything, so you can get the Dragon Stones and stuff. Make sure to do this, because really, why lose out on Dragon Stones and Elder Kais? In my opinion, do the best you can. If you can't get 90 million stuff, don't worry about it, but do the best you can, and you should be able to get at least a good amount of the missions done in that sense. Now, this is the PvP side, of course. If we look at the single player side, the missions are pretty much the same. You'll see I beat a lot of the missions myself, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them. There is one extra mission right here for Link Skill Orbs, which are also pretty good as well, right? So again, do single player first, get those missions done. Then once you have a good feel for your team, your rotations, all that sort of stuff, then go into the PvP side of things and log your damage. So that's what we'll say there. Let's go ahead though and go into this event. We'll go ahead and show you the team. So I have two teams that I want to go ahead and show you guys. We'll do several runs with both teams. This is the first one. So let me go ahead and go to this side. So this is the first team. You can see it's basically focused on Mercenary Tao. I don't have Mercenary Tao of my own, but you see we have Kid Goku for the lead. It is basically an Earth-Red fighter slash mission execution team. So Kid Goku, we have Glorio, who doesn't fit under Kid Goku's lead, but he is under Tao's lead. So that's pretty nice right there. He provides a great amount of support. We have General Blue. We have Path to Power Kid Goku. We do have Pan here, but Pan is actually no longer supposed to be there. I actually changed this to Mai. I'll explain why in just a sec. And then we also have Daima Goku. So that's our first team that we'll talk about. The friend has to be Mercenary Tao, because he is going to be our damage dealer for this sort of team right here. The other team is this one right here. So we got basically a nuking variation with the physical orbs and everything. Our main damage dealer is going to be GT Goku, right? So we have GT Goku, we have Broly Trio, we have Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, or not Evolved Vegeta, but Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, excuse me. We're going to take two of him, the main lead and the friend lead. We're going to have Super Saiyan 3 Goku right there, the GT Duo, and then Jocko. So those are our two teams. Let's go ahead and start off with the Mercenary Tao team. I'll explain how this one kind of works, how ideally you want to have it set up. But yeah, understand there is a lot of finickiness to it. If you don't get the right rotations, you may lose the fight. You have to restart, all that sort of stuff. So don't be discouraged if things don't work out your way. Understand that that's been the case for a lot of people, even myself. Outside of this, off camera, I've been resetting this probably at this point now 20 different times with this specific team, just to get the right rotations, just to see how things can kind of stack up. So that's important to understand. Now, with this team again, Mercenary Tao is going to be our damage dealer. He has crazy multipliers. He can do a bunch of damage. And you saw earlier, I just took those extra damage from the extra things right there to lower my HP. Now, the reason why I did that is I didn't have to go so far down as to 25%, but with Mercenary Tao, he is able to do a lot more damage when under 70% HP if the opponent is stunned, which in this case, Yamcha is stunned. So his damage output can be a lot greater if that is met, which is why I had to go ahead and get our HP below that threshold. So make sure you want to pay attention to what is necessary for your damage dealer. That's one of the cases for Tao, so understand those things right there, right? Okay, so we got that for Tao. Actually, this could be a perfect turn in the sense, because we have the setup for the rainbow orbs and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and ignore that for now. The way I want to set this up, we're gonna float off Kid Goku. We'll keep Tao on rotation because there are 9 charges, so that's 3 turns. We'll go ahead and just kind of keep it pushing here. So let's go ahead and take those orbs right there. General Blue, he's going to provide a good amount of support here. So with General Blue, let me go and show him, right? So General Blue is able to provide in general 40% support, but also he can provide an additional 30% when mission execution is a category that's met, as well as Dragon Ball Saga, I believe. We have both technically met right here with Mercenary Tao, so we're chilling in that respect. We'll go ahead. We really don't need any sort of focus from him in terms of supers or nothing. It really doesn't matter. Same thing can be said for Kid Goku. Kid Goku, a lot of people love Kid Goku, myself included, and a lot of people want to put him #1 TUR. If you're looking for examples of showing like why Kid Goku is the #1 TUR, this is not going to be the moment for that. This is going to be the moment for Tao to go crazy. We see right there 52 million from Tao. That was just a general turn right there, not even really getting a lot of support in general. But, you know, it's pretty easy to get a lot of the missions. That's my point right there. You know, we already got the 50 million mission right there done. Everything before that, of course, is well done. You know, the other missions beyond that, you do need the support. You do need a bit of luck in your side in terms of rotations, in terms of additionals being procced with the hidden potential. So there is a lot of fortune that goes into it. I don't think I'll get the perfect, you know, rotation on camera, but I can explain to it, obviously, how it's supposed to look. So yeah, we had that. Now, we already talked about Tao, Blue, Kid Goku. Again, Kid Goku doesn't do any support, the AGL one. Path to Power Kid Goku does do a bit of support. So when we get enough orbs, he will be able to do a bit of support down here. It's not too much, but it is still something for 2 turns. That is going to be helpful for us. Glorio, of course, he does want to be slot 3 for his support, which is for 3 turns. And then Diamond Goku, the thing about Diamond Goku is his main support really comes in his super attack effect, where with his super, he can boost allies' attack for 41% for 2 turns other than himself. So that's going to be pretty helpful right there. And of course, if we can put him into slot 2, which is my ideal plan, but I don't think that's going to work necessarily. But if he could be in slot 2, he could do an additional. There's a high chance to become a super, I believe, and that should be another opportunity for more, you know, support. So those are the things that you really kind of want to look forward to. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I think this is going to be how our rotation has to look. We'll go ahead and keep things kind of focused on this side. I want to keep the purple orbs to the left kind of intact because with Mercenary Tao, with his active, he can do a good amount of damage with that specifically. However, beyond that, he is also able to, I think I just dropped something. No, we're fine. Beyond that, you know, with Tao, he is able to do orb changing for int and SDR orbs into rainbow key spheres, which means he can get more rainbow key spheres. Per rainbow key sphere is boosting his attack, so all that's important. Can we please dodge this? Thank you, Diamond Goku. I love you. Yeah, so Diamond Goku gonna do his thing. His damage is gonna be very inconsequential. The same can be said for pretty much every character. I don't think there's a single character here who's gonna do respectable damage. Even Glorio, who I love Glorio, but he's not gonna do too much crazy work. Path to Power Goku, same thing. The one who has to show out is Tao, and we did get 2 supers, I believe, there, so that is really helpful. Again, that support is gonna last this turn and the next turn where Tao is gonna show up once again. And the Path to Power Goku, I didn't pay attention. I don't think we got enough orbs for him because I was just so focused on avoiding the whatchamacallit, the left side of the field. So I think I didn't pay attention to Path to Power Goku there, which is my mistake. But yeah, it's easy to make mistakes with some of these characters right here. I got to pay attention to that myself. And also, I mean, I guess as a testament to how sometimes you want the rotations to be a bit better, so it's easy to kind of avoid those sorts of situations, right? Glorio. So Glorio, let's talk about him. Him being a slot 3 support is fantastic. The thing is, ideally, the rotations, this is what I say for the rotations, the ideal way these rotations want to set up, you want Glorio in turn 1, I would say. You want him in turn 1 to be slot 3. And the reason why I want that is because his support lasts for 3 turns. So it lasts for the turn that he shows up and 2 turns after that. So you don't have to see Glorio ever again. As long as he's in slot, in, you know, turn 1, slot 3, he's going to get that support. Obviously, you know, he's doing the debuffing right now with his super, which is fantastic. We can lower the defense, which is going to make our damage output a lot better. So, you know, all those things are so important. More supers from Glorio. We love to see this. This is actually really helpful. It's actually really great too because this is like a pretty decent run, I feel like, on camera. So I'm pretty glad for that. Obviously, we're tanking. And now we have our final turn. This is actually now that I think about it, this is almost the perfect rotation. The only thing missing, I think, is actually, you know what? No. So this is the perfect rotation. This is the perfect actually kind of run, I think, in the grand scheme of things, except for maybe Path to Power Goku not getting his support, I believe, but that's beside the point. Let me explain why. So with Mai, right, obviously Mai has no links, pay no mind to that. That has no importance. But for Mai, right, we talked about General Blue, we talked about Tao. With Mai, she's able to give flat out 30% to stats for all allies, right? On top of that, she's able to give another 30% when there is another 3 Dragon Ball Saga or Pepe Gal's allies on the team. And of course, we do have the Dragon Ball Saga characters. We have Tao, we have General Blue, we have Kid Goku. I believe Path to Power Kid Goku also counts, but if you don't want to count him because he's technically a movie, then, you know, it's regardless. We still have the other 3. So that support is going to be a part of it, the 60%. Of course, with General Blue, he's giving a bunch of support, right? 70% in total right there. Those 2 support, coupled with Mercenary Tao, he should be able to do bonkers amount of damage. Of course, we already had the Glorious support. We had 2 Diamond Goku supers for all that sort of stuff right there. So we have a bunch of support. Honestly, this is actually not the ideal way I had the rotation set up, but this is still pretty much as good as it gets. Okay, so let's go ahead. First things first, let's stick to this right side. Let's just keep things cool. Let's just keep things simple. And then let me go ahead. I'm kind of scared about how I want to approach this. I'm really kind of nervous here. Let's go ahead and get Tao to do his thing here. Just get that going crazy. That will stun Yamcha, which is great because obviously he'll do a bunch more damage when the opponent is stunned. Actually, let me go ahead and show you guys that right now. So with this passive, I understand this isn't JP, so I understand it's not easy for everyone to understand. I'm sorry about that. When the opponent is stunned, though, which Yamcha is stunned in this case right now, we get 500% boost to our attack, which is a multiplicative kind of effect in the way it works. Also, we get another 500% boost to our attack when HP is 70% or less. So, of course, that's why I show right there. That's why I got so much damage. I didn't need to go so far as to 25%, but I still go for that just because my instinct is that we'll just recover too much HP. So that's just how I kind of look at it. Now with Tao, let me kind of math this out, if you will. So see right now, all these orbs are kind of trying to get in the way of Tao's greatness, and I cannot have that. So let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully we can keep the 5 orbs to the side. Yes, this is perfect. So here's the thing about Tao. Let me go ahead and go back to his kit. For every rainbow key sphere that he is obtaining, he's boosting his attack by 200%. So the maximum you can achieve is 5 rainbow key spheres. So yeah, this is going to be probably as best as we can ask for. On average, I have gotten Tao to probably like 3 or 4 rainbow key spheres, and he's done up to 160 million, 170 million, which essentially gets you around, I would say, the 60 million mark. So that's what I want to say right there. But yeah, I mean, this is really great. Of course, the stun means we can keep Mai in the front. We can keep General Blue in slot 2. We don't need to worry. We can float off Mercenary Tao as well because he's our slot 3. This is the final turn, so we really don't have to care about all that sort of stuff. Now, obviously, we're having a really great run. Everything is going great right now. General Blue is able to look like he's doing some work, you know, so things look pretty great, right? But we need to understand that this is almost as ideal as it can get. I'm actually very fortunate that we got this on camera. I promise I've been retrying this so many times on my own just to understand the rotations and everything. Look at that, 200 million, 204 million. We still probably want the additional from Mercenary Tao because he could do more to his attack. 77 million additional super, please. Yes, sir. 231 million, 231 or 232 almost. How much is this going to do? Probably 80 million, 87 million, and that's as high as I've been able to get. Yeah, so still, we didn't get to 90 million. That is crazy. I thought I'll be honest, I genuinely thought that was going to be our moment. I think I have to look back. I don't think I got the Path to Power Kid Goku support. If I got that, I'm pretty sure we would have had it, but it is what it is. You never know how these things are going to pan out. Again, that was my first time getting that high of damage. I've actually never broken the 70 million barrier, so that's really lucky. We'll go ahead and run this one more time just to kind of, again, explain the rotations, explain the setup. Obviously, I don't have a Mercenary Tao on my own, so I'm using the friend one. Obviously, there are some characters here who you may not have, like Glorio, you know, General Blue. I was very lucky to pull General Blue just for the support, of course. Mai, you know, Kid Goku. If you don't have all those characters, you know, worry not, because at the end of the day, you know, there's still other characters, other team comps you can build. You know, as long as you beat those early missions, you should be good. So that's why I just want to kind of impart to you guys is like, don't really stress it too much. But yeah, so next rotation, I didn't even look at the rotation. Obviously, this is not as good as our previous one because we have Diamond Goku at the final kind of position. So his stacking, his support is not going to help us too much. Mai is not next to Tao for her support. So yeah, this is not ideal. This is really not too great in the grand scheme of things. In fact, there is a possibility that we just don't make it out of this turn because we're just going to probably just die. So we'll have to kind of see here. But yeah, that was actually really awesome. I'm actually very glad we got that. Tao has been one of the easier teams, I feel like, for me personally. I understand everyone's accounts is going to be different, but Tao has been one of the easier kind of approaches like for me in terms of getting the highest damage possible. I know some people recommend, you know, Super Easy Tech Cell. I know GT Goku is an option. We'll talk about him in just a second when we run through him, but there are different options. I just feel like Mercenary Tao is the best of them. So that's just my kind of thoughts there. But okay, so we talked about that. Again, the rotation, you want Glorio probably, we just saw turn 1 or turn 2, get him to float off so he gets that support. Path to Power Goku, if you have him, you want to get those orbs for his support for 2 turns, so ideally he'll be on turn 2. Then Diamond Goku, have him on turn 2, ideally probably slot 2 because then he could do more additional supers, but slot 1 was perfectly fine there. If you get the additionals, again, that's really great. I do have 1 dupe in my Diamond Goku, so that's important to note. And then for Tao, really you want to make sure to give him those rainbow orbs for his damage, and then just keep General Blue by his hip as best as you can. Have Mai in there or someone else. Another option that is really good, I will say, is probably LR Bulma or Bulma Bunny, right? The side banner Bulma Bunny from the Master Roshi Dokkan Fest release. The Bulma Bunny does a lot more in terms of support. She does 50% flat out with her like passive, and then she does 86% with her super. So assuming the same kind of circumstance, but replace Mai with Bulma Bunny, we probably would have made the 90 million mark right there in terms of the support difference. So, you know, those things do matter. Because this is basically our best turn right now, like I really don't have a choice. I gotta go ahead and do the active. I might as well just do a bit more damage, have some fun, do some orb changing, which is going to be very helpful for us. And then let's see here. So yeah, we're going to be able to probably get that. Let's just take those orbs right there. We dropped too many, unfortunately. I was hoping to keep the 5 up there, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, we'll take that. And then Pat to Power Goku. We do have enough orbs for his support right there, so we'll see how much this can do. This actually can... It looks like it should still be able to do a good amount of damage. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, you know, there is a lot of finickiness to it. More often than not, I actually have been unlucky with these rotations, so it is like that. Yeah, 166 mil, that's not even close to enough. We've already seen what the damage is necessary to get to those high numbers, but still, 60 million from the friend Tao. Love to have it. Now, here's the thing about this event, because I've already talked about the rotation, I've jibber-jabbered long enough about the team comp and everything. Let me talk about the event more so. So, I said it earlier, I think it's basically just a revamped, glorified version of the punching bag event. I really do believe that. Maybe that's a bit harsh. Let me know in the comments down below if you disagree or what do you think about the event and stuff. But a lot of friends of mine, a lot of people on Dokkan Twitter and the Dokkan community, they are saying this event sucks for a variety of reasons. At bare minimum, a lot of the complaints have been that this is basically a pay-to-win type of event where you either have the characters or you don't. And I will say right now, in terms of that specific like focus, I think that's true. I'm just going to auto this and get it done with. I do think that's true because, like, look at the team I'm running. I'm running Kid Goku, which is from the Saiyan Day celebration. If you weren't lucky to pull him, you know, you were in bad luck there. So Kid Goku, kind of a recent character in that sense. Mai, not necessarily the most pay-to-win kind of character, but still very lucky that I have her for this. Daima Goku, a dupe in Daima Goku because of the Golden Week banner, so that, of course, gave me the additionals right there. You know, those sorts of things do matter. So it is pay-to-win in that sense. It does suck. I wish there was more accessible means for the higher missions, but of course the good thing is they made sure those higher missions don't give the craziest of rewards, because imagine if we got 20 Dragon Stones for breaking the 90 million barrier. So many people would be so pissed because a lot of people may not be able to reach those levels even on an ideal setup. So it's, yeah, I think it is definitely a pay-to-win kind of situation. I think it is also very frustrating given how many times you have to reset this. This is fortunate that I was able to get it on camera, all this stuff, yes. But on average, players are talking about resetting time after time after time. They don't even get to try a single turn. If you look at your first turn, your turn is not good, you reset, bam, try it again. That's what's happening for a lot of people, and it's really annoying. It really is. Now, that being said, I do enjoy this event in one specific sense, which is that it's nice to see a character do Unga Boonga damage, right? That's the whole point of this event, is to do the Unga Boonga damage and like see crazy big numbers. And, you know, shout out to Tao, he's doing it. This event allows for that. In fact, it promotes it. But beyond that, it is pretty boring in the grand scheme of things. And if you're retrying it a lot of times, you're going to be pissed. I get pissed a lot when I'm retrying it, like during my off time. It was very frustrating. So yeah, this event is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think a lot of people are happy with it, and I perfectly understand why. Okay, let's go ahead and real quick talk about the second team before I forget it though. So we talked about the first team, the second team. So this is going to be the second team right here. Let me go ahead and get the friend lead. So our friend lead is going to be the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Now, the reason why we want Vegeta is both Vegetas, the way they work is with every single physical orb, the attack is being increased by 35%. So that basically means that for GT Goku, for someone like him, who is a nuker type of character, the more physical orbs he gets, the better his output will become. So that is something we want to do. Obviously, this is focused on GT Goku being the character to save the day. So there is a lot of challenges, I guess, that can come with that. What's that rotations looking like, by the way? So this is, I'll say right now, this is probably not an ideal setup in the grand scheme of things. Now, we're going to go ahead, take this damage, get under, let's just go all the way through here, because we're going to need probably like the revival and everything from the GT Duo, but overall, this is not going to be that great. So GT Goku going to be our damage dealer. He is in slot 1, which is good, or turn 1, so we have the opportunity to play around with him, kind of figure things out. That's actually some nice orb changing, but in the grand scheme of things, I just don't feel happy about how this is looking. Good thing is we have the revive, so we can just test this out and see what sticks. I think we're about to get screwed though. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're about to get destroyed. So we'll have to kind of be wary of this, I guess. How much is this going to do? 350k. Obviously, we don't have any good stats for defense or anything. So we're a glass cannon. This is why I actually don't like this team. I had some success with this team, I will say, but I don't like this team too much compared to the Mercenary Tau team because it is more susceptible to pain and misery and all this sort of stuff. We also, because we healed up and revived, we didn't get Broly's like whole field orb changing. So we basically re-screwed ourselves here. So this is great. We love to see that. This, yeah, look at that. This is what, that's so frustrating. That is really painful. Okay, I'm not mad. You're mad. I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, you can see my frustrations right there. I'll probably give this like 2 or 3 more runs just to kind of show you guys like the team and everything. Understand again, these are only 2 teams. If I go and look like at friend leads and stuff, there are other options. I just saw someone apparently beat it with like the Ginyu Force team, so that's apparently a thing, I guess. But you know, you could do all sorts of options. You see people right here taking like the physical Super Saiyan trio. I assume for this team, the option they're trying to go with is the Family Kamehameha Gohan, which he's still a pretty good damage dealer, so that makes sense. You got an all STR team with Piccolo, so that way they could probably get Kaioken Goku to do some crazy damage himself. Similar kind of setup right here. Obviously some different changes. My GT Goku, I believe, is 69%, so not as good, but you got things like that. You got the Mercenary Tau comp. This is another great comp right there. You got some of the 10th anniversary fusion teams. I will say right now, the 10th anniversary fusions and the 7th anniversary EZAs, you don't want to use those fusions. You don't want to use those characters because they can do a lot of damage, but to get it to work is not easy. And the fact of the matter is there isn't enough turns for them to fuse, to do their thing. You will not be able to see them do their best work. Imagine if this was 5 turns, Vegeta would probably be the go-to. But because it's not 5 turns, you have to rely on options outside of the fusions, which I think is a good way to balance it in terms of the gameplay. But in like that's like on its own kind of positive. To play devil's advocate, it also means that half of your units are no good for this event because you have to be ready out the gate. So, you know, it is kind of frustrating in that respect. But let's keep going. So with this team, I will say right now, from my experience, from my understanding, you know, granted, I'm an average to, I guess, semi-decent team builder. I won't go so far as to praise myself any further than that. But as far as my understanding of the rotations, the way you want this to set up is you want basically what we have right here, where you have GT Goku, you know, he's going to be able to do his thing, of course. You have Jocko, who's going to be able to stun. You have Vegeta's, who's going to do orb changing. Broly is going to do orb changing. That's how you want things to set up. You want GT Goku to get the full field of orbs because of the Broly trio, as far as I can tell, just because that's the best way to get this whole kind of setup going. I forget now with the Broly trio, I can't check their passive right here. I was going to try to check that. I forget how low their HP has to go in order to get the full field of orb changing. I can probably check that right now, but I completely forgot how much that is supposed to be. Alright, so Jocko should be able to stun here. Perfect. So the stun means we are safe, of course. Let's just go ahead and pull these orbs down here. There's nothing to do with this rotation. That's the thing that also sucks. Half the units in this rotation are just useless. You're just doing normals to get done with them. So I really do hate that as well, but it is what it is. All right, so yeah, I just had to check. So for Broly, I was just checking Dokkan for right now. So Broly trio, just for those who don't know, they do the orb changing for all the field and everything when HP is 40% or less, or actually 39% or less. So we do need to get all 3 of those damage taking instances in order to actually meet the threshold. So yeah, not ideal, but it is what it is. Also, we got rainbow orb changing because I believe we just got screwed. We just got hella screwed, actually. Now that I think about it, I didn't even realize how screwed we've become. What is this right here? This is terrible. If this was for Mercenary Tau, we actually would be cooking. That's the crazy thing, is this could work so well for Mercenary Tau. But right now, the way this is set up, we are so cucked. We can't even get the super with GT Goku. That is so sad. Yeah, that's not great either. Yeah, this team is not as fun, I feel like, or it's not as fun. It's also not as easy to do. I'll give it one more go. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But this is definitely one of the teams I've seen a lot of people go with. There are ways to make it work. But yeah, it is kind of finicky, and you do need really good rotations, I feel like, on this compared to the Mercenary Tau one in that respect. Let's see. So we do got the same setup here. Based off, actually no, we don't, because we have GT, or not GT, but we have three coup on the first turn. So wait, who's our number 6 then. Number 6 is Vegeta. Okay, that's fine. I forgot who our rotations were. So the rotations are fine. We are taking a lot of damage, which is not ideal, but Jocko is going to stun, which is fantastic. If we can just go ahead and go through this real quick here, please. Thank you. All right. So Jocko's going to stun here. Don't have to worry about that. Let's just move about our business. Because GT Goku is first and everything and how this all sorts out, I believe we should be safe. We should have no more issues of the full field of freaking rainbow orb changing. That is so stupid. I can't believe that happened. I thought it would be fine, but it was clearly not. So that was very pathetic. Actually, in retrospect, that may be an argument for why Broly Trio could be an option on Kid Goku's team, I guess. But you would need the 7 orbs for them to guarantee dodge and stuff. There's finicky stuff to it, but yeah, it is kind of frustrating. There we go. Full field. This is what I wanted to see. Now, Goku may still die. He may still die, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to give it a try. And actually, now that I think about it, the only unfortunate thing is we didn't get 3Ku to do his supers to get the stun, I guess. But it is what it is. If I recall correctly, we want AGL or STR orbs, which we can't get either, so that does suck, but okay. We'll go ahead and take that and just kind of go about our business and hope for the best. If this does not work, I'm probably just going to call it there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that was a bit of a misplay on my part. I should have tried to strive for Super Saiyan 3 Goku's supers because he does have a chance to stun. I'll give it one more go as we kind of talk about it, but that was definitely a misplay on my part. But yeah, you could see, you can probably hear it in my voice too. I am actually getting a bit pissed off with this event now, specifically with this team. I'm getting very annoyed. Is this the same rotation? Please be the same. Why is it not the same rotation? Why is, I'm going to reset. I'm going to reset this. I am going to reset this. I don't want to have to do all that just to watch some random bloke just take GT Goku's orbs. All right, run it back. I wish they would just be smart enough to give me Vegeta on this team. They should know better by now. But it's fine. It's fine. We're going to make it do. We got Jocko there. This is not it either. I can't do it. I can't do it with this. I need GT Goku to be right next to Broly Trio, hand in hand, like they're going to the prom or something. Like I need them to be on a date. I don't know why I just said that. That makes no sense. That makes no sense why I just said that. Okay. Let's try this again. That is not the right rotation. Please tell me if Broly Trio is on turn 3, we can make this work. Of course not. Thank you, game. I love Dokkan. I do love Dokkan, actually. I just hate this event. This event sucks ass. Why is it that it's necessary for us to reset this over and over and over again? It takes so long just to go through the friend system to pick the same damn unit every time. Actually, in retrospect, this is what I should be doing. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Let me set up what, like the Vegeta setup here. So that's Hybrid Saiyans. That's not the right thing. Vegeta's family is here, and Power Beyond Super Saiyan. So that should enable me to get, yeah, that'll make things faster. That's the smart thing, is to set up the category stuff. GT Goku. Okay, this can work. Actually, this is probably as good as we can ask for. So it'll have to do just to show off what we can do here. Some damage, some good damage here maybe. All right. Fingers crossed this works, and it should work because we got the stun from Jocko, so it should be fine. But fingers crossed we do omega damage. All right, we got the power here. We don't have great linking. That is a serious kind of a problem for us. Again with the lack of orbs. Just take that, I guess, for the support, and then Jocko can just do Jocko shit. I guess I don't know what does Jocko do. I guess he just poses, right? He does that one pose. What was that? 115 million right there, I think, from Goku. So not too shabby. 44 or 45 million. So yeah, not too shabby right there. He is doing more supers, which is great. Again, if mine was rainbow, that would make things a lot easier as well. And also if we had some better rotations for better linking. So there are a lot of things to consider. Goku is able to debuff, which is nice, but yeah, just not enough. I think I thought it'd be a lot better. He did at one point, I will say this, it's not shown on the camera here, of course. He did 160 million at one point in time. I haven't been able to replicate it, but he did some good work. So, you know, credit where credit is due. But yeah, he's done a lot of supers. The problem is this is not cumulative damage. It has to be in one specific instance. Goku is only hitting 50 millions. So even if he's doing 50 millions, that doesn't mean it's a 90 million type of thing, right? Also, we took so many orbs that we are unable to get this working. So we're just pretty much done here. Like, there's nothing we can do here. We're about to get screwed here. But I guess we can see how strong the GT2 is going to do here. They just dodged that. Wow. That's surprising. I gotta give him credit for that was pretty impressive there. Damn, that's crazy. Although, actually, you know what? That's not too bad. But I guess to be fair, the event's not that hard hitting. But yeah, so we saw the damage GT Goku can do. That's, I think, we're going to wrap up the vid. Because honestly, like, I don't want to run it back. You guys saw the GT Goku team. Again, if I had to suggest which of the two teams that I used that you guys should use as well, go with this team. Try to find a way to make it work. Again, you don't need these characters exactly for Glorio, right? I just decided Glorio because I wanted a slot 3 support, and Glorio is good enough that he works even outside of this main lead here for Goku. So I chose him. I chose Blue. I chose Mai. Find the best supports you can. Find supports who can last for multiple turns so you don't have to mess up rotations. Do the best you can. If you can't get the biggest missions, that's okay. But at the very least, you should be able to get, you know, the bare minimum stuff to get the Dragon Stones and stuff. So do strive for that. That's why I will say right there. But yeah, let me know again in the comments down below. What do you guys think about the event and everything? Do you guys like the event? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think about the event in general? What do you think they should do when it comes to PvP? Because this was supposed to be an idea of what PvP could look like for Dokkan. And if this is what PvP looks like, I'm not gonna lie, they need to go into like the drawing board or something. They need to look at PvP once again and figure out a different idea, because this is not it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, show your support, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1K subs. Comment down below your thoughts once again. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, stay blessed, and I will see you all in the next one.